Photosynthesis and cellular respiration. In this video, I'm going to explain what photosynthesis and cellular respiration are, how do they work, and why are they important. We're going to start with the photosynthesis. First, where does the word photosynthesis comes from? Photo comes from the ancient Greek for light, and synthesis also comes from the ancient Greek for production. Does this tell you anything? Well, photosynthesis is the chemical process the plant, seaweed, and some bacteria have to do in order to get their food. Their food is called glucose. Without glucose, plants could not live. How does photosynthesis work? Photosynthesis is divided in two phases, the light phase and the dark phase. The light phase is called that way because it requires light. In this phase, the plant absorbs the sunlight with its leaves. But how is this possible? Well, plants are made by plant cells. Inside of those plant cells are these really little things shaped like beans called chloroplasts, which contain a pigment called chlorophyll. That thing called chlorophyll is in charge of absorbing the sunlight. The dark phase is called that way because it can happen with or without sunlight. In this phase, the plant absorbs the carbon dioxide from the air and the water from its roots. But how is the plant going to make glucose with these things? Well, that's what light is for. We all know that a molecule of water is conformed by 2 of hydrogen and 1 of oxygen. The plant only wants the hydrogen that comes in the water molecule, not the oxygen, so the plant separates the water molecule apart. For separating that water molecule, the plant needs a lot of energy. That energy is the one that the plant absorbs from the sun in the light phase. Once the oxygen and the hydrogen are separated, what happens to the oxygen? The plant doesn't need the oxygen, so it releases it. And that oxygen that the plant releases is the one we breathe. So that means that the oxygen we breathe originally comes from the water and not from the carbon dioxide. Once the plant has the carbon dioxide and the hydrogen, it puts them together. For putting them together, the plant also needs a lot of energy, which also comes from the sun. In this case, the sun works like glue. Once the hydrogen and the carbon dioxide are put together, the sun's energy stays inside and they make a glucose molecule. And that's how photosynthesis works. Cellular respiration. Cellular respiration happens inside every cell in your body. It's like a human photosynthesis. What happens when you eat chocolate? When you eat chocolate, you're eating a lot of carbohydrates. Glucose is a kind of carbohydrate. That means that when you eat chocolate, you're eating a lot of glucose. Remember that glucose is energy for plants, like their food? Well, with humans, it's not exactly the same. We need to transform that glucose into energy. But how does your body do that? By a process called cellular respiration. Like I said earlier, a glucose molecule is made by hydrogen, oxygen, and the sun's energy. So what your body does is to separate them, but your body can't separate the glucose molecules by itself. It needs oxygen. That oxygen is the one we breathe. If you didn't breathe, your body cannot separate the glucose molecules and you wouldn't get your energy. Once your body has separated the glucose molecules into carbon dioxide, hydrogen, and the sunlight's energy, it takes the sunlight's energy and that's what your body uses for energy. Without that, you cannot do anything because without energy, your body cannot move, think, or do anything. This means that the energy we use for our bodies comes originally from the sun. What does this have to do with getting fat? Your body can decide to transform that glucose into energy or not. It depends if your body needs it. For example, if you eat a chocolate bar and you're going to run a marathon, your body is going to say, oh, we need energy, so let's turn this glucose into energy. But if you eat a chocolate bar and you're going to sleep all day, your body is going to say, well, we don't need energy for this, so let's save it in case we need it someday. But how does your body save this glucose? It saves it like fat. Yes, this is why people get fat. If you eat more carbohydrates that you're going to burn, you're going to accumulate fat. I bet you didn't know that plants had something to do with you getting fat. Or that the energy we use for everything in our bodies comes originally from the sun. Or that the air we breathe comes originally from the water.